Hello friends, welcome to Channel Reza Blade. I'm your friendly neighborhood Reza. Today we'll believe 6 impossible things before breakfast as we design nail art with this month's Storyteller Mani by Me box. Right on time for National Reading Month. Let's give a round of applause to National Reading Month. You probably know that I was a professional writer before I was disabled, and I majored in English and read all sorts of mandatory books of classical literature. So you know that I was super excited about the Storyteller box. This is like the best thing ever. So if you don't know me, I kind of add my own spin to nail art product review videos, technical tutorials, tips and tricks, all sorts of stuff. And if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. And please join me by subscribing. I just hit 1,400. I've been doing this for like 3.5 years, but I'm so glad that you like me. So let's go on this little journey while I knock over my nail glue. I just want to warn you, I did the routine manis that I do every month, as you know, also a lot of nail art, you know, you probably see it grow every month as I do this. Eventually there's a point I'll have to just stop increasing the output. But anyway, I put this mani on the wrong hand. So if it doesn't all look symmetrical like I made it, that's why. Anyway, so I do have a Maniology ambassador code. If you want to get anything from Maniology, you could try it on the box. There is a $5 off coupon on your first month. That's like, I think, sub 5. It's in the comments below in the description box. I'm very disorganized today. I'm sorry about that. Follow me down the rabbit hole. I made that note. I have to quote Alice in Wonderland twice. Anyway, I'll show you this month's box, and I still am an eternally voracious reader, so I'm still reading, of course, but I'm kind of done reading classic lit. I know that a lot of people may not always read the full, like, Les Mis book or anything like that. So a lot of times today I'll be talking about the movie versions. I apologize for that, but it's kind of a way for me to get, you know, kind of connect with everybody. So this month's surprise fifth item, surprise gift, was a marbling kind of pattern nail foil. They also included, this is even more valuable. This is a good nail foil glue. Don't forget, when you're using foils, do not apply them until the glue turns clear. So that means using a white base is probably not the best plan. That's what happened to me this month. Anyway, so what else? Paper swatches, of course. I'm going to talk to you about the designs on the paper swatches, I think, and then I'll tell you how I did all my nail art. Let's see. Let me tell you about the stamping polishes before I do the swatch. I put the little cards up here so I could kind of show you what they say. This one is Sonnet, and it is called a Rouge Rose Pink, offering subtle shades of violet. You know what this is. I'm afraid that Maniology is returning to their infamous pink period. But this is a red enough pink for me. I mean, it's really a rose, which is technically a pink, but you know what I mean. It's not like that bubblegum pink or whatever that I'm just not a big fan of. This is a dusky lavender kind of taupe. Love it. Still reminds me of the pink period. So anyway, but these are great stamping polishes. They both show up on black, which is not normally the thing that Maniology is known for with their lighter stamping polishes or whatever. But look at how well these are showing up on black. So do keep an eye out for those polishes. If you're a subscriber and you skipped the box, I think these polishes are still awesome. Anyway, what else am I talking about today? I'm talking about, I have a lot of fun facts to share with you today. This is just stuff that I picked up. I don't know, you know where I pick up my stupid trivia. I read a lot. Anyway, so how I did the nail art. First, well, no, sorry, I didn't take as copious notes because I had so much to say. I thought I'd leave it to chance, and I'm being disorganized. So we have MXM075 We've got Anne of Green Gables over here and Wuthering Heights. Yeah, not the biggest fan of Wuthering Heights, but anyway. We have Once Upon a Time. We have all sorts of little book things, book pictures. Typewriter, you know, I'm a fan of that. Some quills. This is a really cool image of kind of birds coming out of the storybook. And all sorts of really cool objects that are kind of portrayed as books or pictured as books, like the alarm clock. And I was talking about, oh, the book butterflies. Isn't that flipping adorable? Okay, so, and then I'll talk more about them once I get to the paper swatches on the paper, so you can see how well these plates stamp. Les Mis, of course. This is the famous image from the musical poster as well. You can see that my nail for Les Mis, I did a blue, white, and red gradient behind her so that I could kind of match the picture. All right, here we go. Romeo and Juliet. I mean, these are all just all sorts of cool book cover type images. That means that that parchment marble that I've talked to you about a lot over the past year or two, I've shown you a couple of times how I do a smush marble that looks kind of like parchment paper. I don't remember what video is in though. If you remember, comment below. Anyway, so we've got what I think is a hidden reference to The Great Gatsby on this one, because you can see this geometric art. This is very Art Deco. And here's some flowers as well. I just think that might be The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. So, and then The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is so cool. Look, they have all the elements on the cover just perfect. So you've got that Sherlock up here hidden. If you've got a smaller nail, shorter nail, and you have, you know, you want the Sherlock image, you may not want to commit to this one, or you want to maybe do it next to the book cover, which I think is a great design tip. You know, do your center two nails as your stamping nails, and one is Sherlock and one is the book cover, or part of it anyway. That would be really fun. We've got some Phantom of the Opera stuff. Love me, that's all I ask of you. That is a quote from the musical. I think we all, well, I say we, I mean musical geeks. And, you know, I and anyone out there who relates to me in this way know all the songs in the Phantom of the Opera musical by heart. And so I had to do this Mani inspired by the Phantom of the Opera. This is a it was a limited edition polish from Lantern and Wren's Halloween box, I think, last year. And it was funny, I couldn't get the big glitters to appear perfectly. So on the first layer of this color, I put 2 matching green dots so that I could kind of put a sheer coat over it, and it would make everything else opaque because it was already on in a coat. Make everything else opaque besides the 2 dots, and I think it worked so well, and I'm so excited. But no, I mean, that's a sort of geeky thing that nobody would know, but I wanted to tell you so that you knew, if you know, if you wanted to, you could do something like that. So this is a really fun design tip to tell you. Phantom of the Opera's cloak is black, of course, but this particular image, I really thought it would be best in black stamping polish. So instead of having the seams in his quote, which really adds the sort of verisimilitude of the piece, or lifelikeness, you know, like real life, that the gray would really work in there to kind of convey the sense of the black cloak. So that's how I did that one. And then I overlaid the mask over that little, I made a parchment out of the lyrics. And then when I was making a reverse stamp out of it so that I could color in the back so that it's not wanting to do. Anyway, so you can see those little gold bits. What I did was I put that iridescent green sheer on the bottom, or it was the first layer, so that it would be the top layer on the stamp. And then I did these little kind of fine nail art dry brushings of gold. And then I did another layer of the iridescent green, and then a white. And then I stamped it all on, and I overlaid the mask, and I really like the effect of that nail. I'm sorry I can't show you all these things. I have like 80 ideas here. So anyway, Peter Pan, if you've got a smaller nail, you can just take him. Remember, you can release things with get away non-necessary stamping stuff with Scotch tape or dotting tool, at least as long as it's fresh. But you can just put like Peter Pan over that little silhouette of London. That's pretty cool. Whatever, you could use the stars, all of it. Here we have a Pride and Prejudice reference, of course, the famous Jane Austen. These are books written in the Regency period of England that are sort of, they're called books of manners, or I think that's what the term was in class. I don't remember. It's been 25 years, whatever. But these are really funny looks at society, besides being really interesting stories. So I do recommend that you read at least Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. They're very good. So for these nails, which are right here, there we go. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Okay, so I had Pride and Prejudice, and then I did the silhouettes. I did all of this nail art on the background of the new sugar from NeVerMind. I know that I've talked to you about this in the sugared pastries collection video, which I just did. Find that link in the description box or on my channel. Anyway, so, and then we have Most Ardently. Both Most Ardently and We Are All Fools in Love, which are on this plate, are from the book Pride and Prejudice. So it's a very cool book, much better than anything by the Bronte sisters in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Very great book. So here's with the couple, what I did is I colored them in, and then I used the flower chain, which is actually next to them. It's forming kind of a symbolic wedding arch or something like that, you know. But I take all these flowers, I color them in as a reverse stamp, and I put them right under here as sort of a frame. I really enjoy it. I don't always like it when stamps end in midair, so sometimes I find ways to kind of make things a little bit more finite. I like things with definite finishing point. That's just me though. Anyway, a bunch of Wizard of Oz stuff, which is neat because I have a really fun Wizard of Oz fact. But first I want to tell you, because I'm getting off track here, the reason I showed you this Mani was that I could show you that I kind of designed it around limelight, which was this kind of, what was it, oxygen, hydrogen? Anyway, there was this blowpipe that like there was calcium oxide, and it would explode into a bright white light. And in old theater productions, they used to use this, and it was very dangerous, but it was very cool looking. And I thought maybe this could be like illuminated by that bright light, and everything else would fall into the shadows. Because anyway, it was an idea. Whatever, it may not have worked, may have worked. Anyway, so by the end of the 19th century, most theaters had stopped this. They were at electricity, but anyway, so what else did I mean to talk to you about? Oh, by the way, Phantom of the Opera, Lon Chaney, 1925, I think maybe that was written. I don't know. I'm sorry. My facts are just top of my head, so maybe they're off. Anyway, so the Phantom of the Opera, Lon Chaney, was very cool, and he had kind of a, like a death mask kind of skull look to his face in that particular interpretation of Phantom of the Opera. So, I told you about Pride and Prejudice. If you've been watching Bridgerton on the Netflix, that's the same time period as these Jane Austen. I almost said Jane Oxygen. Jane Austen books. All right, so let's talk about Alice in Wonderland, since my backwards Mani, that's what it's from. If you could just imagine these two nails next to each other, where I artfully divided the image in the middle so that it could show his tail and Alice on the other side. Of course, that's not what you're seeing here. You're seeing something wrong. And anyway, this at least looks like one of Tenniel's original illustrations for Alice in Wonderland. If you really just want the Tenniel stuff and nothing else, Moyu London makes a couple of Alice plates in their Alice collection that are Tenniel illustrations. Those are those old woodcut kind of lithograph style illustrations for Alice in Wonderland that way predated the Disney movie or anything like that. And a lot of people like those. So anyway, but Charles Dodgson himself, who's Lewis Carroll, was fairly problematic picture now that we see him in modern light. But he was a brilliant mathematician, an Oxford professor, and he did write the Alice in Wonderland stories for his little girl. So I say little girl, I mean actually little girls, but also Alice's last name was Little, Liddell. So I might be getting a little. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. You all don't want to hear about this. So the top images here were actually done from a plate that makes a great companion to this plate. This plate is Maniology M031. One side is Stranger Things, sure, but a lot of this is Alice in Wonderland. And you can see this really cool key image, which is on my thumb. Thumb. And then I did this thing like with the French and then the images. I don't know if it worked out. Please tell me if you like it or not. And then, so the palette kind of came to me organically. It was just sort of something that happened. I was like, ooh, neon yellow would look really great with this. I decided it did. Anyway, so the way I did these French is the usual way I did my Frenches with those little binder reinforcer things, those circles. I probably showed you in a bunch of other videos. Anyway, so I just really like some of the images on this. They're very, well, I say me, but you know, they're very neat. Here's Drink Me. Anyway, just a lot of really cool stuff on this plate. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's M031. The other plate I used as an addition to this collection, the Storyteller box, was M057. That's Polished Justice collab plate with Maniology. All about books. Very cool. So I'm going to put those aside since I've already talked about them. Anyway, as far as Alice goes, there's a book called Alice I Have Been by Melanie Benjamin. It was fabulous. It was very, very enlightening. And it's also an audiobook, which is how I listen to books while I try to do things, be productive. Anyway, but I love the Tim Burton Alice movies the most. Still know the Disney one by heart, though. Anyway, so in Wizard of Oz, I was talking to you about those. Here are they. It was written in 1900, but 1939. This wasn't meant to match up, but it matches up so closely that it looks like I did it wrong, but it wasn't meant to match up. The way that I did these was that I painted white on this blue background in a kind of a rainbow shape, and then I mattified the white so that it would accept the color, and I just used a straight, thicker than this, but kind of like this, one of those, you know, long, fine art, nail art pens, like long, like that. Anyway, so I used that to make white. I mattified it, and then I used this for all those little red, orange, yellow, you know. I used sheer jellies from both Hit the Bottle and Maniology for that rainbow. I hope it's okay. I did a hollow top coat on the top of it. I don't know if I like it, but all of the stamps are from the plate, and I made the book pages in the center emerald because of the Emerald City. So I hope that thematically worked out okay. Anyway, that's my design for those two nails. I need to remember. Oh, this is my failed attempt with the foil. I used white, so I couldn't tell when it was dry. I did the rub-on thing. It really only took in the middle, so I painted around it. Because when we make errors on our real nails, we don't always feel like cleaning them up, do we? Sometimes we want to just make it work, in the immortal words of Tim Gunn. All right, so this for Natural Reading Month, and I have Read, and it's like, it was like, you know, it's kind of a sponge, colorful background, and then the book has kind of fun adventures coming directly out of it. The Read is from the plate, Polished Just plate, but everything else is from the Storyteller box. So that's that nail art. This nail art is the Romeo and Juliet poster, but instead of focusing on the actual book or book cover or whatever, I did a French. The green I used here is for the Polished Gamers box, which opens on the 15th and closes on the 20th. This one is All Hail the Master Chief. Really cool green with some, looks like copper speckles in there. But anyway, I used this green as the base, and then I did a couple of different neons for this. And I used the stamp, I covered it with clear, and then I painted the neon directly over it so I wouldn't have to fuss with it on the nail. That's a really good quick tip is, once you make that stamp, you can just color where you want the color based on the picture and then put it on the nail. Boom. So anyway, that's what I made with this. I wanted kind of a sinister looking poison nail, and there's my poison nail. I keep talking about poison in my nail art videos. This is strange. Anyway, so this is from the book cover I thought was Great Gatsby. I just used the flowers and the border, that geometric border. And maybe that looks good, maybe it doesn't. It was just an idea. Let me talk about these other ones here as I try to pick things up with longer nails than I usually wear. All right, so this is, I already talked to you about these. The color representation isn't looking amazing on my monitor. This is very rosy and almost wine, but it's really looking less blue-red than it is in person on the camera. Oh well. Here's my Dracula cover. Y'all know that, I said y'all. You know that I am a bit of a goth at heart, and this one was a lot of fun. The key here, because I'm using a lot of grays and whites and stuff to paint everything in, was I just put a little bit of neon yellow-green into just a teeny bit into the white so that his hand hopefully kind of stands out from the rest of the picture. Here's The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I have the book cover here with all of its symbolic things like the magnifying glass and his precious violin, pipes, etc. But I put him on top from the other image on the plate. Here's Les Mis. Anne of Green Gables. I had a bit of a catastrophe. After I took pictures of this nail and I had it all mattified and lovely, you'll see them on my various posts on Facebook and Instagram. But after I colored everything in, I couldn't see the copper didn't kind of stand out from that green. So I did over it with black, and then this was really weird. I top coated it and the letters moved as I top coated it. So, I mean, I don't know. Some things are strange and they happen strangely. This is that All Hail the Master Chief color I was telling you about. Last of my swatches for nail art, we have Once Upon a Time, accompanying a reverse stamp of the silhouette of the lady reading. We have a magical cat book mélange, and then we've got a girl reading, and this stack of books behind her. This is my to be read pile, totally. The stack of books behind her is from the Polished Jess collab plate. Here is the typewriter. I layered a few of the kind of flowery silhouettes from the Alice in Wonderland images behind the typewriter. And then this one is so that I can tell you about, this is inspired by one of my very all-time favorite young adult books that I still reread as an adult, Sorcery and Cecilia. It's an epistolary novel, which means that it's set up like letter writing. And it's by Patricia C. Reed and Caroline Stevermer. I don't actually know how that's pronounced because I've only read the name, not heard it. But anyway, it involves a very, very interesting plot, including a chocolate pot and some magical elements, and it is set in the Regency, so it's on theme. There, I didn't run off topic for you. Here's my lovely Moby Dick. I use this huge nail. I was gonna finish that word. I used this huge nail so that I could do the whole image of Moby Dick and the way I picture him coming up, the great white whale coming up on the Pequod. And yes, I had to read that book. Okay. In the words of Bartleby, another of Melville's characters, I would prefer not to. But actually, it was pretty fun, the professor who did that. So let's do, oh, speaking of Phantom of the Opera, watch Phantom of the Paradise if you can. Sit through it at all. It's hilarious. It's fun. Okay, so Wuthering Heights, it was a Gothic tragedy published in, what, 1847? I think I have written down. That one I had to look up. Anyway, this is one of the books that I blame for my post-university refusal to read books without a happy ending. Literature is not about happiness. Classic literature is just not that. That's not what it is. So after reading so many of them over many, many, many years, I permanently parted ways with tragic fiction. So here we go. Now it is time. I'm going to throw my... Oops. Yeah, I threw them. So here's how well all of the stamps, I know that you are, so this is a lady with kind of the Moors on her head. I don't know. It's a windy plain with a tree. So I thought maybe that was appropriate to Wuthering Heights, but I don't know for sure. Anne of Green Gables, everybody knows the Megan Follows and Colleen Dewhurst. Movies that were, this is a Canadian author, and I believe the movie was made in Canada, so that's pretty cool. I just really love the Anne. I haven't seen Anne with an E. Please tell me if it's worth seeing. I'm kind of nervous about it. Here are the Alice in Wonderland images, all of the really cool book images, and oh gosh, you know, if you have the Edgar Allan Poe plate, do see how this one looks with the Nevermore stamp. I think it has Nevermore on it. Anyway, that would be just awesome. I would love that. So that's that plate. We've got our Once Upon a Time and our Moby Dick and all of our fantasy book images. So here's Mr. and Mrs. Darcy, the Pride and Prejudice stuff. All of this you've seen, but seeing it stamped kind of lets you see some of the images you might have had a hard time with again. And there we have it. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Don't forget to join me next Sunday, what date is it? 13th, 4:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time. I will be testing out live a brand new Hit the Bottle stamping plate. Definitely please like, comment, subscribe, etc. I'm sorry this was so long. I'm sure there's still stuff that you have. Ask me questions, tell me things. What did you think? Was it okay? Do you want to go read everything or do all the nails? I want to hear about it. And I'd love to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.